Thank you for watching. My name is Glen Morgan, and this is another episode of We the Governed. So today we're going to be digging into just some of the incredibly important priorities that our Attorney General has had here in Washington State. And of course, wouldn't you know, it's our Attorney General is Nick Brown, and he is primarily distracted right now by the Bikini Barista drama up in Snohomish County. And he's not paying much attention to crime, Antifa, or fraud, which is all over Washington State. So let's dig into this because I think it's an important story to get into. Now, first, if you have not subscribed, even if you're a barista, a bikini barista, or whoever, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. We appreciate more people linking up to our channel, giving it more visibility. Please feel free to share this widely with others. And if you like the stories we do, please feel free to support our channel as well. You can go and support us in the link down below. So let's get back to our Attorney General, Nick Brown. Now, many people are aware of this and some people don't know, but he was a 2001 Survivor contestant. He got booted off the island for being lazy and not working well with others, but nevertheless, that seemed to be a pretty good background for him to become Washington State's Attorney General. Now, I talked about this a little bit during the campaign in the video that I'll link to down below about one of his fellow Democrats who was also running against him, Moncadingra, who I caught breaking the law and filed an ethics complaint at the time. And Nick Brown really had this campaign kind of paved for him by some of the political insiders, and now he is the Attorney General. And unfortunately, he is a bit distracted right now with a variety of other controversies involving some ethical problems that he's exhibited in his collusion with Perkins Coie, which is the Russian collusion hoax and Hillary Clinton law firm of record. And there's been a lot of drama around this. And for him, he's dealing with a bar complaint and ethics investigation into his background. So it's probably no surprise that he wants to be distracted or have the rest of us distracted by the Bikini Barista drama that he has filed and recently put a press release and a conference down below, because after all, and I am sure this is true, the Bikini Baristas absolutely do need his help in making sure that they get their full paychecks and they deal with some oddball people that would apparently want to run a Bikini Barista stand up north. Now, at the same time, I totally understand. I mean, who can blame him? If the Bikini Baristas came and asked me for my help and I was in the Attorney General's office, it'd probably be hard to resist, and Nick Brown probably had the same experience. But it seems like it might be important for him to maybe spend just a little bit of his time looking around at all the fraud that's actually going on in Washington State. Since just a few weeks ago, it was revealed by King County auditor who only looked at a fraction of the money, of the $1.5 billion in King County alone, just one county, that looks like the majority of it's been fraud, or a huge portion of it's been fraud. And would the Attorney General's office even get involved in looking at what appears to be one of many fraud cases going on around the state? The state taxpayer money is disappearing, and basically Nick Brown's nowhere to be found. At the same time, you also have the issue where you have basically Antifa, which is a homegrown Pacific Northwest group, started in Portland, spread all over Seattle. It's dominant on the left and in many of the Democrat Party circles here. And they also like to commit violence and try to silence people who disagree with them. And violence is a big part of what they do. Would Nick Brown maybe look into that, or at least try to protect the civil rights of people trying to commit acts of free speech and collecting signatures in front of stores? Or is Nick Brown going to continue just to look the other way? At the same time, you could also look around and realize that Washington State has become a primary drug pipeline for the Sinaloa drug cartel. They have money laundering operations everywhere, shipping fentanyl and meth to every corner of the state and out to other places, since they do start to bring a lot of their supplies now down through the Canadian border. And is Nick Brown anywhere to be found there? I mean, the feds are very active right now, but not Nick Brown. He'd rather hang out with Bikini Baristas, and who can blame him, because dealing with the drug epidemic in Washington State, which a good percentage of it is imposed by policy and appears to be an enjoyable outcome of some of the policies that you get when you have a city like Seattle or Olympia or Vancouver or Bellingham and Spokane that just want to invite as many drug addicts and drug cartel members to their cities as they possibly can. Who could see anything going wrong with that? Now listen, to some extent, what's happened here is He's basically, Nick Brown is following in Bob Ferguson's footsteps. Bob Ferguson, when he was Attorney General, perfected the art of shakedown operations for businesses and other types of especially smaller entities that he could beat up and extract some cash and then use that cash later on to give to potential voters. This is how he got the tuna chicken check program going right before his election to governor, and it's been a big part of how he's used the pay-to-play program when Bob Ferguson was Attorney General. Nick Brown's kind of coming up as the mini-me to Bob Ferguson, and now that Nick Brown's there, he's going to follow in his footsteps. And it does look like that's what's actually going on here. Now, one of the things to remember is that Ferguson was clearly kind of manipulated some of this process. He did definitely help Nick Brown get into this position. And so he's kind of paved the way for goofy press conferences all the time, like the Bikini Barista press conference recently that Nick Brown led. And that's apparently the program that Nick Brown's going to follow based on what Ferguson told him to do. Now, the problem is that when we look at this, we should expect different things from government. And I believe that there are some actions that we can take to make an impact in this case and perhaps tell Nick Brown that maybe there's slightly higher priorities in Washington State than just Bikini Baristas. And so one of the first things I'd recommend you do if you want to get involved is just email the Attorney Generals and tell them you understand. Bikini Baristas are awesome, they're fun, but maybe start paying attention to just kind of other interesting things like maybe the state and local government fraud, which is perpetual, and from a public integrity standpoint, maybe for once in the Attorney General's existence, they will actually do something about public integrity because fraud is all over the place. Millions and probably billions of dollars are being stolen on a regular basis, and Nick Brown's busy playing with Bikini Baristas. Maybe the drug cartels, gangs, and the drug deaths that are going on a daily basis in the cities of Washington, maybe it's worth looking at that. Just maybe. Or perhaps, maybe Antifa's war on democracy, which the hard left that probably did support Nick Brown in the first place, they seem to be inflicting on people who dare to commit acts of free speech and try to collect signatures in front of stores. Any of these things would be better than whatever he's wasting his time on right now. And although I certainly appreciate the plight of Bikini Baristas just as much as the next person, there might be other things that the Attorney General's office could work on. And I think you and I could probably reach out to him and get everybody we know to do the same and maybe ask him that other priorities could be a little bit higher. Who knows? Just a thought. But you can't make a difference if you just stay at home and cry in your beer and watch Netflix. You got to get involved, you got to be engaged, and it's going to take more than just helping Bikini Baristas up with whatever's happening to them. It's going to take you showing up. Because, as I always say, the future belongs to those who show up.